The massive alien ship appeared on a quiet Tuesday morning, silently sliding into orbit around Earth like a dark cloud blocking the sun. Its size alone made humanity's largest space stations look like toys in comparison. Within hours, every telescope on Earth and in orbit pointed toward the vessel, its metallic surface reflecting sunlight in ways that made it seem almost alive. Tom Wilson, the UN Secretary General, stood at his office window overlooking New York City. The streets below were packed with people staring at their phones or gathering around public screens. News of the alien arrival had spread faster than any viral video in history. "Sir," his assistant spoke from the doorway, "they're broadcasting on all frequencies. They want to meet." Wilson turned away from the window, his face showing the weight of what was possibly humanity's most important moment. "Where do they want to land?" "They don't need to, sir. They're using some kind of projection technology. They'll be here in the assembly hall in 20 minutes. The UN assembly hall filled quickly with representatives from every nation. The air felt thick with tension as security teams swept the room for the 10th time. Among the gathered diplomats sat James Walker, Earth's most experienced negotiator, known for resolving the water wars of 2040 without a single shot fired. At exactly 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the air in the center of the hall shimmered like heat waves rising from hot pavement. A figure materialized. Tall, humanoid, but clearly alien. Its skin had a metallic sheen, and its 4 eyes scanned the room with mechanical precision. 2 more aliens appeared beside it, each wearing what looked like flowing robes made of living metal. The central figure spoke, its voice resonating perfectly in English through some unseen translation device. "I am Ambassador Marcus Gray of the Imperial Diplomatic Corps." The name sounded jarringly human coming from such an alien being. "We represent the Galactic Empire, ruler of 8,000 star systems and protector of countless species." Wilson stepped forward to welcome them, but Gray raised a hand to stop him. "We are not here for pleasantries. We are here to inform you of your new status within the Empire." The room fell silent. Walker leaned forward in his seat, his experienced eyes catching every subtle movement of the alien diplomats. "Earth has reached a sufficient level of development to be of use to the Empire," Gray continued. "As such, you will now begin paying tribute for the privilege of our protection. The standard rate is 30% of all planetary resources to be collected annually." Murmurs of shock and anger rippled through the assembly. Walker noticed how the alien ambassador's upper eyes narrowed slightly, a sign of satisfaction. Amusement. Gray's voice cut through the noise. "This is not a negotiation. You have 7 standard Earth days to prepare your first tribute. We have already calculated your world's resources. Failure to comply will result in unfortunate consequences." Walker watched as Wilson tried to maintain composure. "Ambassador Gray, surely we can discuss terms that would be beneficial to both." "There are no terms to discuss." Gray's metallic skin rippled with what might have been irritation. "This is how it has always been. Every species pays tribute. Every species submits. The Empire protects, and the Empire receives its due." As the tension in the room grew, Walker received a discreet message on his secure tablet. It was from Earth's Unified Defense Council, marked urgent. His eyes widened slightly as he read the contents, careful not to show any reaction. "You have 7 days, Gray stated again. "We will return for your answer." The aliens vanished as suddenly as they had appeared, leaving behind only a lingering scent of ozone. The assembly erupted into chaos. Representatives shouted, argued, and demanded action. But Walker sat quietly, rereading the message on his tablet. Earth's long-range sensors had detected something fascinating about the Empire's ship, a vulnerability that no one was supposed to find. As he looked up at the spot where the aliens had stood, a small smile crossed his face. Humanity had spent decades preparing for first contact, developing technologies in secret, planning for every scenario. The Empire thought they were dealing with simple primitives who would bow down in fear. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a room that didn't officially exist, James Walker stood before Earth's Unified Defense Council. The giant screens behind him showed detailed scans of the Imperial ship still orbiting Earth. "Ladies and gentlemen," Walker began, "what I'm about to share will change everything." He pressed a button, and a 3D model of strange energy patterns appeared in the center of the room. "This is how the Empire communicates." General Roberts, an old veteran with gray hair and stern eyes, leaned forward. "What exactly are we looking at, Walker?" "Their entire empire runs on quantum communications. Perfect, unbreakable signals that connect their ships, their bases, and their worlds." Walker paused, letting a small grin appear on his face. Or at least, that's what they think. The room grew quiet. Admiral Jones, head of the Space Force, spoke up. "You're saying we can break their unbreakable system?" Walker nodded. "Better than that. We can shut it down completely." He brought up another image, this one showing a small device about the size of a coffee cup. "Project Blackout. We've been developing it in secret for 15 years. The device rotated slowly in the hologram. It looked simple, almost primitive compared to the sleek Imperial technology. But that was the point. Sometimes the simplest solutions worked best. "The Empire relies too heavily on their quantum network," Walker explained. "They're like a person who's forgotten how to walk because they always take their car. If we take away their network," he let the implications sink in. Dr. Thompson, chief of Earth Science Division, stood up. "Our long-range scans show they don't even have backup communication systems. They think quantum channels can't be disrupted." "Arrogance," General Roberts growled. "Their biggest weakness." Walker nodded. "Exactly. They've conquered so many worlds, they've forgotten that someone might fight back. But we humans," he smiled, "we've been preparing for aliens since we first looked at the stars." He pulled up more data on the screens. "Their ships are advanced, yes. Their weapons are powerful, but they've grown lazy. They rely on shields that can stop energy weapons, but they've forgotten about simple physical objects." Admiral Jones caught on quickly. "You mean our railguns might work?" "Their shields are tuned for plasma and laser weapons. A good old-fashioned tungsten rod moving at Mach 25. Goes right through." Walker showed simulation after simulation. "We've been building our defenses differently. We didn't try to copy alien technology from movies. We improved what we knew would work." The council members exchanged looks. They had all helped build Earth's secret defenses over the years, but none had known the full picture until now. "Here's what they expect," Walker continued. "They expect us to either submit or try to fight with crude copies of their technology. Instead," he pressed another button, and the screens filled with Earth's hidden fleet, ships that looked basic but were built with one purpose: to fight smarter, not fancier. "We have 7 days," General Roberts said. "Can we be ready?" Walker nodded. "The blackout devices are ready for mass production. Our ships are armed. And most importantly," he brought up one final image, a map of known Imperial territory. "We've identified every quantum relay station in their nearby systems. Take those out, and their empire can't coordinate." Dr. Thompson raised her hand. "What about the other species that conquered? The ones paying tribute?" "Already handled," Walker replied. "I've made contact through back channels. Many of them hate the Empire. They're waiting for someone to take the first shot." He looked around the room. "We won't just be fighting for Earth. We'll be lighting the spark of revolution across the galaxy." Admiral Jones stood up. "Then we better make it count. I'll ready the fleet." As the council members filed out to begin preparations, Walker stayed behind, looking at the image of the Imperial ship. In 5 days, he would stand before their ambassador again. But instead of bringing tribute, he would bring humanity's answer. An answer that would shake the galaxy. The Empire thought they were dealing with simple primitives. They were about to learn that humans were anything but simple, and definitely not primitive. The Imperial Embassy on Luna gleamed like a silver jewel against the moon's gray surface. Inside its grand hall, representatives from across the galaxy gathered to witness Earth's submission. The ceiling was a transparent dome showing Earth hanging in the black sky, a beautiful blue marble that would soon join the Empire's vast collection of tributary worlds. Ambassador Gray stood at the head of the hall, his metallic skin reflecting the starlight. Around him, other alien diplomats whispered among themselves, placing bets on how quickly the humans would bow down. The human delegation entered the hall. James Walker led them, walking with calm confidence that made some of the alien diplomats shift uncomfortably in their seats. Behind him came Earth's military leaders and scientific advisors, each carrying datapads containing Earth's response. "Welcome," Gray's voice echoed through the hall. "I trust you have prepared your tribute listing." Walker stepped forward, his footsteps echoing in the suddenly quiet chamber. He looked around the room, making eye contact with various alien representatives. Some looked away. Others stared back with what might have been hope. "Ambassador Gray," Walker began, his voice clear and strong, "we have indeed prepared our response to the Empire's demand." He pulled out a small data crystal, standard Imperial format. The aliens leaned forward, eager to see the list of resources Earth would provide. Gray's upper eyes blinked in satisfaction. "Very good. You show wisdom in accepting your place." "I'm not finished," Walker interrupted. The hall grew silent. No one interrupted Imperial officials. Ever. Walker continued, "This data crystal contains two things. First, a detailed analysis of your Empire's strengths." He paused, letting his next words fall like hammer blows. "And all of its weaknesses." Gray's metallic skin rippled with anger. "How dare you?" "The second item," Walker spoke over him, "is humanity's formal declaration of war against the Galactic Empire." The hall erupted in chaos. Alien diplomats jumped to their feet, some shouting in outrage, others watching in stunned silence. A few, Walker noticed, were trying to hide small smiles. Gray's laugh cut through the noise. "War? You declare war?" His metallic skin flashed with patterns that indicated amusement. "Your species can barely reach its own moon. Your technology is primitive. Your weapons are toys compared to Imperial might." Walker smiled. It wasn't a friendly smile. "You know what's interesting about humans, Ambassador? We've spent our entire history preparing for fights we weren't supposed to win." He pressed a button on his datapad. Above them, through the transparent dome, lights began flashing in Earth orbit. Hidden stations were decloaking, revealing Earth's true military power. "We never stopped at our moon," Walker said quietly. "We just wanted you to think we did." Gray's amusement vanished. "You dare to threaten." "This isn't a threat," Walker cut him off again. "This is a promise. You came to Earth expecting to find another easy target. Instead, you found humanity." He looked around the room. "And humans don't submit. We don't surrender. And we definitely don't pay tribute." He tossed the data crystal to Gray, who caught it reflexively. "You have 1 hour to leave Earth's solar system. After that, we will consider any Imperial ships as hostile targets." "You cannot be serious," Gray sputtered. "You are nothing compared to the Empire's might. We will crush you." Walker turned to leave, then paused. "One more thing. To any species watching this transmission, because I know this is being broadcast across your quantum network." He smiled directly at the recording devices. "The Empire isn't invincible. They aren't gods. They're just bullies who've gotten away with it for too long. And humanity knows how to deal with bullies." As Walker and the human delegation left the hall, the alien diplomats broke into frenzied discussion. Through the dome, more and more of Earth's hidden defenses were becoming visible, like stars appearing at dusk. Gray stood clutching the data crystal, his metallic skin now showing patterns of rage, and though he would never admit it, fear. The humans hadn't acted according to any Imperial predictions. They hadn't followed the rules. and that made them dangerous. Operation Blackout began at exactly midnight UTC. Across Earth's hidden shipyards, vessels that had been prepared in secret for decades powered up their engines. They didn't look impressive. No shiny chrome, no fancy glowing parts. They looked functional, practical, built for a single purpose. In his command center under the Rocky Mountains, Walker watched the tactical display as hundreds of small dots emerged from hidden bases on Earth, the Moon, and Mars. Each dot represented a ship carrying a blackout device. "All ships report ready," General Roberts announced. "Waiting for your signal." Walker took a deep breath. This was the moment that would decide everything. "Send the code phrase." Roberts nodded and spoke into his command mic. "The sky is falling." Across the solar system, Earth's ships jumped into action. They didn't use fancy Imperial faster-than-light drives. Instead, they used simple mass accelerators, giant railguns, to launch their ships at incredible speeds. The Empire's sensors barely had time to register the launches before the ships were past their defensive lines. "Imperial fleet is responding," Admiral Jones reported. "They're trying to coordinate their defense." She smiled. "Just as we predicted." Walker watched as the Imperial ships moved into standard combat formations. They were beautiful, their movements precise and practiced. And that was exactly their weakness. Blackout devices activating in 3, 2, 1. Across space, hundreds of small devices powered up. They didn't look like much, just simple boxes with quantum field generators. But their effect was immediate and devastating. The Imperial ships suddenly stopped moving in formation. Their perfect coordination vanished. On the tactical display, Walker could see them starting to drift apart in confusion. "Quantum network is down," Dr. Thompson reported from her station. "Their entire communication system is offline. They're completely blind." The Imperial ships tried to regroup, but without their quantum communications, they couldn't coordinate. Some tried to fire at Earth's vessels, but their targeting systems relied on quantum entanglement. Without it, their advanced weapons were shooting blind. "Phase 2, Walker ordered. Earth's ships moved into attack position. They didn't fire energy weapons or plasma beams. Instead, they launched simple tungsten rods, accelerated to incredible speeds. The Imperial ships' energy shields, designed to stop advanced weapons, did nothing against these primitive projectiles. "First Imperial destroyer disabled," Jones reported. "Second, third, they're not even able to track our ships without their network." Walker watched as the tactical display showed more and more Imperial ships going dark. Some were trying to retreat, but without coordination, they were running into each other's paths. "Sir," Thompson called out, "we're picking up transmissions from the Imperial ships. They're trying to use radio waves." She laughed. "They're having to dig through their archives to remember how." The battle, if it could even be called that, was over in less than an hour. The mighty Imperial fleet, terror of 1,000 worlds, had been defeated by simple physics and humanity's primitive weapons. "Status report," Walker called out. Roberts checked his displays. 80% of Imperial ships disabled or retreating. 0 casualties on our side. Blackout devices functioning at full capacity. He shook his head in amazement. They never even got a chance to use their main weapons. "Send the message to all Imperial worlds," Walker ordered. On thousands of planets across the galaxy, the same message appeared on communication systems that the Empire had thought obsolete. "This is Earth. We have defeated the Imperial fleet using technology they considered primitive. Their quantum network is down. Their ships are in disarray. To all species who wish to be free of Imperial rule, now is your chance. The Empire is not invincible. They can be fought. They can be beaten. Join us." In his command center, Walker watched as responses started coming in. First a few, then dozens, then hundreds. Species that had suffered under Imperial rule for centuries were rising up. "Sir," Jones reported with a smile, I think we just started a revolution. Walker nodded. This was just the beginning. The Empire had ruled through fear and advanced technology. But they had forgotten something important. Sometimes the simplest solutions were the best ones. And humans were very, very good at finding simple solutions to complex problems. The Imperial High Command gathered in their emergency bunker on their throne world. Their metallic skin showed patterns of distress as they watched their mighty empire crumble through primitive radio signals, the only communication that still worked. Meanwhile, on Earth's command ship, Resilient, Walker received reports from across the galaxy. The holographic display showed hundreds of uprising worlds as green dots against the red of Imperial territory. Imperial forces are switching to old-style radio communications, Admiral Jones reported. They're trying to coordinate their counterattack. Walker nodded. Just as we expected. How are their efforts going? Poorly, General Roberts answered with a slight smile. They're so used to instant quantum communication, they can't handle the radio delays. Their ships keep arriving at different times, missing their targets. On the main screen, they watched as an Imperial battle group attempted to attack one of Earth's forward bases. The Imperial ships were bigger, more advanced, and more powerful, but they moved like drunk dancers, unable to coordinate without their quantum network. Launch the mines, Walker ordered. Across the battlefield, thousands of small, simple metal boxes drifted in space. The Imperial ships ignored them. Their sensors were designed to detect energy weapons and shields, not basic metal objects. They're entering the field now, Jones announced. The mines were nothing more than balls of metal with small guidance thrusters. But when they struck the Imperial ships' hulls at high speed, they did what kinetic weapons had done since humans first threw rocks. They broke things. Imperial group is retreating, Roberts reported. Their shields were useless against physical impacts. Walker turned to Dr. Thompson. How are our allies doing with the new weapons? Thompson pulled up reports from various rebel worlds. They're adapting our designs to their own technology. The rock people of Sigma-9 are launching chunks of their own crystalline bodies at Imperial ships. The gas giants of the Orion cluster are using their atmosphere to rust Imperial hulls. Simple solutions, Walker mused. The Empire forgot about them because they were too focused on advancing their technology. Suddenly, alarms blared. Multiple Imperial ships dropping out of FTL. Jones shouted. They're launching their new superweapon. The Imperial flagship, twice the size of all other ships, launched a massive energy beam at Earth's fleet. But Walker didn't look worried. Deploy the mirrors, he ordered calmly. Hundreds of simple, reflective surfaces, made of common materials found on any planet, unfolded in space. The Imperial superweapon's energy beam hit them and scattered, harmlessly dispersing into space. Imperial flagship is powering up for another shot, Roberts reported. Launch the tungsten rods, Walker commanded. Simple metal rods, accelerated by Earth's mass drivers, shot through space. The Imperial flagship's shields, designed to stop energy weapons, might as well have been tissue paper. The rods punched through their hull, disabling their superweapon. Sir, Thompson called out, we're getting a transmission from the Imperial flagship. They're asking for a ceasefire. Walker stood up. Put them through on the main screen. Ambassador Gray's face appeared, his metallic skin now dulled with stress. How? He demanded. How are you defeating our most advanced weapons with such primitive tools? Walker smiled. Because we never forgot our roots. Every piece of advanced technology is built on simple foundations. You forgot those foundations. We didn't. The Empire has ruled for 10,000 years. Gray protested. And in all that time, Walker replied, you never thought someone would think differently than you. That's your real weakness, not your technology, but your mindset. On screens across the galaxy, other species watched this exchange. They saw how Earth's primitive solutions had defeated the Empire's advanced technology. Many were already copying Earth's designs, using simple physical weapons that bypassed Imperial shields. Your empire is falling, Walker continued. Not because we're stronger, but because we showed others they don't need advanced technology to fight back. Sometimes a rock thrown at the right spot is better than the most powerful laser. Gray's image flickered as his ship lost more power. This isn't over, he threatened. You're right, Walker agreed. It's just the beginning. The galaxy is changing, Ambassador. The age of the Empire is ending. The age of freedom is beginning. As Gray's transmission cut out, Walker looked at the tactical display showing more and more worlds joining the rebellion. Sometimes the best revolutions didn't need advanced weapons. They just needed someone to show that the impossible was possible. And humans had always been good at doing the impossible. The Great Hall of Earth's lunar base was packed with representatives from 100 different species. Some floated in anti-gravity fields, others stood on mechanical legs, and a few existed as pure energy contained in special suits. They had all come for one purpose: to join the fight against the Empire. Walker stood at the podium, looking at these beings who had been enemies just weeks ago. Now they were Earth's strongest allies. The crystal beings of the Orion Belt have joined us, a blue-skinned delegate announced. They're converting their entire mineral production into kinetic weapons. The gas giants of the Carina Nebula pledged their atmospheric ships, another representative added. We can rust through Imperial hulls in seconds. Walker nodded at each announcement. The Empire had forced these species to be weak, to depend on Imperial technology. But now they were remembering their own strengths, their own ways of fighting. Our latest intelligence, Walker began, bringing up a galactic map, shows the Empire has retreated to their core systems. They're rebuilding their quantum network, trying to restore their communications. Let them try, rumbled the rock-like delegate from Sigma 9. Our crystal disruptors will break it again. They taught us to build their network. Now we know exactly how to destroy it. Dr. Thompson stepped forward with new data. We've been combining our technologies, she explained. Earth's simple kinetic weapons with Sigma 9's crystals. The gas giants' corrosive storms with the energy beings' power sources. The Empire never imagined we could work together like this. The gallery erupted in approving sounds. Everything from human applause to crystalline chiming to energy pulses. The Empire kept us apart for a reason. Walker continued. They knew that together, we could be stronger than them. They made us think we needed their advanced technology. But look at what we've achieved with our own methods. The main screen showed victories across the galaxy. Imperial ships destroyed by simple asteroids guided by crystal beings. Their bases corroded by living storms. Their quantum network shattered by technologies they had dismissed as primitive. A small floating creature moved forward. The Empire called us primitive because we live in gas clouds, it said through a translator. Now our clouds eat through their ships' hulls. Who is primitive now? More cheers filled the hall. Walker let them celebrate for a moment before raising his hand for quiet. The Empire is preparing for one final battle, he announced. They're gathering their remaining forces at their throne world. They think their advanced technology will save them. He smiled. They still haven't learned. The tactical display showed the Empire's defenses, massive energy shields, quantum-locked weapons, and automated defense systems. They looked impressive, unbeatable even. They're expecting energy weapons, Walker explained. They're expecting advanced technology. Instead, they'll face asteroids guided by crystal beings, gas clouds that corrode metal, simple kinetic weapons moving at impossible speeds, and most importantly, he looked around the room. They'll face us all, working together. The Free Species Alliance, someone called out. The name spread through the crowd like wildfire. Yes, Walker agreed. The Alliance, not built on force or fear like the Empire, but on cooperation, on using each species' natural strengths, on remembering that sometimes the old ways are the best ways. The delegates cheered again. On the screens, more reports came in of Imperial defeats. The Empire had ruled through advanced technology and fear. The Alliance was winning through cooperation and simple, effective solutions. Tomorrow, Walker announced, we take the fight to their throne world. They think they're ready for us. He gestured to the gathered delegates. Show them what real strength looks like. Show them that the age of their empire is over. As the delegates departed to prepare for the final battle, Walker looked at the tactical display. The Empire still had powerful weapons, but they had forgotten something important. True strength didn't come from advanced technology. It came from working together, from combining different ways of thinking. And now, finally, the galaxy was remembering that lesson. The Imperial throne world hung in space like a jewel, surrounded by its last defensive fleet. Massive energy shields created a golden dome over the planet, powered by technology that had protected the Empire for thousands of years. Behind those shields, the Imperial High Command watched their sensors with confidence. They had gathered every advanced weapon in their arsenal. They were not prepared for what came next. The Alliance fleet emerged from hyperspace, led by Earth's flagship, Resilient. Walker stood on the bridge, watching as ships of all shapes and sizes took their positions. Each species had brought their own way of fighting. All ships report ready, Admiral Jones announced. The Empire's quantum network is still down. They're using old radio signals to coordinate. Walker nodded. Begin Phase 1. The crystal beings of Sigma-9 moved first. Their ships, looking like nothing more than chunks of space rock, accelerated toward the Imperial shields. The Empire's sensors, designed to detect energy weapons, didn't even notice them. Imperial Command is laughing at our primitive missiles, General Roberts reported, monitoring their communications. Walker smiled. Let them laugh. The crystal ships struck the shields and passed right through them. The Empire had designed their shields to stop energy and plasma. They hadn't thought about simple crystals that could change their atomic structure to slip through energy fields. Phase 2, Walker ordered. The gas giant beings released their living storms into the gaps created by the crystal ships. Imperial vessels began to corrode, their beautiful hulls turning to rust in seconds. Panic spread through their fleet as ships began breaking apart. They're powering up their super weapons, Jones reported. Right on schedule, Walker said. Release the mirrors. Thousands of simple reflective surfaces, designed by Earth and built by a dozen different species, unfolded in space. The Empire's energy weapons fired, and their beams bounced back, caught in an endless loop of reflections. Their shields are weakening, Roberts announced. The crystal beings have created enough gaps. Walker pressed a button on his command console. All ships, commence final attack. The Alliance fleet moved as one. Each species used what they knew best. Human ships launched tungsten rods at incredible speeds. Crystal beings turned themselves into living weapons. Gas clouds corroded Imperial defenses. Energy beings overloaded their power systems. On the Imperial command channel, which the Alliance could now hear clearly, panic spread. How are they doing this? An Imperial commander shouted. Their weapons are so simple. That's why they're working, Walker responded on all channels. You forgot the basic rules of physics in your rush for advanced technology. We didn't. The Imperial shields flickered and died. On the throne world surface, the High Command watched in horror as their primitive enemies broke through every defense. Ambassador Gray's voice came over the channel. Wait. We surrender. The Empire surrenders. Walker looked at his tactical display. The Alliance fleet had surrounded the throne world. The Imperial fleet was in ruins, defeated not by advanced technology, but by simple, effective solutions used by species working together. The Empire's time is over, Walker announced on all frequencies. The Free Species Alliance accepts your surrender. The age of tribute is ended. Cheers erupted across the Alliance fleet. Species that had been enemies now celebrated together. The empire that had ruled for 10,000 years had fallen in less than a month. In the following days, representatives from every world gathered on Earth to sign the new Alliance Charter. The Imperial throne world was transformed into a center of learning, where species could share their knowledge freely. Walker stood in the same UN hall where the Empire had first demanded Earth's tribute. But now, instead of fearful diplomats, he saw confident representatives from across the galaxy. The Empire fell, he told them, not because we were more advanced, but because we remembered something they had forgotten. True strength isn't in having the most advanced technology. It's in working together, in combining our different ways of thinking, in remembering that sometimes the simplest solution is the best one. He looked out at the gathered species, humans, crystal beings, gas clouds, energy forms, and 100 others. Each had contributed their own strengths to the victory. The galaxy is free, he concluded, and together we'll build something better than an empire. We'll build a future where every species is valued not for their technology, but for who they are. And across the galaxy, billions of beings celebrated the dawn of a new age. An age built not on fear and submission, but on cooperation and respect.